Hi everybody, I'm Matt Crandall.
And I'm Michael Mercy.
And today we are giving you an advanced review of the new John Cusak time travel 80s homage sort of body comedy hot tub time machine, which, if the title didn't tip you off, is about a hot tub that also is a time machine. And it's basically just a gross out, goofy, old school style comedy about four guys who get in a hot tub one night at a crazy party and jump back to the 80s and have to relive a magical night from their past all over again. And it is very funny. There are lots of funny moments. A lot of it is very stupid, and a few of the jokes are extremely sort of, you're covering your eyes a bit from the grossness of it all. But what did you think, Mike?
It is stupid, but it's one of those funny, stupid movies. It's like Anchorman or Talladega Nights. There's bad, stupid, unfunny movies, and then there's stupid movies that are hilarious. And I think I'm going to be watching this one again. The title should give you a perfectly good hint of what is to be expected. It's about a hot tub time machine. They don't really explain why the thing sends them back in time. And I'm glad they don't. Well, they do sort of at one point, but I'm glad they don't really, give it more attention than it needs. It's a stupid comedy. It's a stupid concept. And, just leave it at that. It's a fun movie. Very kind of, I'd say it's a cross between a Groundhog Day with the kind of supernatural aspect and like an old school, like a buddy comedy. Great cast. Fantastic cast.
So the cast is really good. And they're definitely like the highlight here, because people like Craig Robinson just kill like the whole movie. Yeah. And you feel like, the script is pretty good, but it's a lot of the delivery, and you feel there was a lot of riffing on the set that produced the best laughs in the movie, I think.
And one of the guys who really stood out in the cast is Rob Corddry. I've always been on the fence about Rob Corddry. He's been a guy who I thought had his moments, but sometimes kind of borders on a little too obnoxious, but in this movie I think he really came through as the new generation's Don Rickles.
And it works because Corddry is playing the obnoxious asshole, and everybody says he's just this obnoxious asshole, so the fact that sometimes he gets on your nerves works because that's the point of his character. That is who he's supposed to be, and he's just dishing it out as good as anybody has in the past, like a Rickles. And he does get some really good lines by just being a total jerk.
Mm-hmm. And as far as Cusak goes, Cusak is Cusak.
Yeah, and in fact, that's probably one of the weak points of the movie for me, is that there's so much great 80s nostalgia for a John Cusak. Like, he has such a past in the 80s movie genre that when they go back, there's so many more jokes that you can have revolve around Cusak. And they even go skiing in the movie, which Better Off Dead culminates in like this big skiing tournament and stuff. So it's like there needed to be a bit more for John Cusak to do, because he has such a great past in 80s movies, but yet his character is the straight man, and he doesn't have anything to do, and he doesn't have hardly any laughs. And it's tough when a movie like this has two straight men, Clark Duke and Cusak. But Clark Duke is the one who actually gets some of the punchlines, but Cusak just is sort of there.
I think exactly. I think just having him there was their way of saying, here's a little extra 80s, presence, and he doesn't even have to do anything. You just be there, and there it is. How about best part, worst part?
I would say my best part is probably a tie between Craig Robinson, just overall. He has some bits that really kill. Craig Robinson, the Enrique Iglesias hero reference, and Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. Yeah.
Crispin Glover shows up in just like this really weird random cameo, and he keeps coming back throughout the movie as a running gag.
And there's your other 80s presence.
Yeah,
also,
for sure.
Yeah.
And Back to the Future, Crispin Glover, you've got to have him in a time travel movie that takes place in the 80s. Yeah. And even though you know where the gag is going to go, just having the fact that it was Crispin Glover and this keeps showing up and coming back, I thought that was one of the best parts.
Yeah, I like the reoccurring gag with, we won't spoil it for you, but there's a reoccurring gag with
You're waiting for something to happen, and you're waiting.
And it doesn't get tired. Yeah. It's actually funny right until the end. Worst part?
Chevy Chase for sure. You know, a movie like this has a stupid plot, and you have to have someone there to sort of explain what's going on. And Chevy Chase is sort of like the mystical guy who's caused them to go back in time, and he advises them like they can't change anything. But Chevy Chase has zero laughs in this movie. Like, he's the anti-comedy. That red matter in Star Trek, that is Chevy Chase in this movie. And it's like, Chevy Chase in his heyday was fairly funny, but not anymore.
Yeah, like when you see Chevy Chase, the first thing that popped into my mind was, oh, you know, it's going to be like a Bill Murray cameo from Zombieland or Get Smart. And it just wasn't. I mean, the whole movie I'm waiting for Chevy to do something funny, and I don't know if he was never that funny and I'm just remembering with rose-colored glasses, or he's just forgot how to be funny. But yeah, Chevy doesn't really bring
something has happened to him for sure. And as a big Caddyshack fan, like, Chevy used to be funny, but not anymore.
Yeah.
So your best part, worst part?
My best part was when they initially go back in time. I loved how the whole scene was handled. The ridiculousness of them going back in time. They just decided, hey, we're doing this, like the filmmakers. They're going back, and who cares how this is happening. And all of the 80s references and how the characters come to realize that they're back in the past. Everything was done really, really funny. Especially funny if you grew up during the 80s. And that scene culminates with Craig Robinson saying the line from the trailer, "It must have been some kind of hot tub time machine," and then he looks right at the camera.
Hot tub time machine.
That was also a cool little thing that he did, you know, being from The Office, and he's always doing that on The Office. So that was my best part. I love that whole sequence. Worst part, I'm gonna have to say Clark Duke.
Yeah.
Clark Duke, I'm sure he has a lot of fans. I haven't really seen any of his work before this movie, but it seemed to me like the guy just doesn't have any real comedic talent. I know a lot of you will disagree with me on that.
I'm one of those ones who will disagree, but I think it also has to do with, I like the web shorts he did called Clark and Michael. He's on a criminally underwatched and underrated show called Greek, and he's hilarious on it. And he was very funny in the movie Sex Drive, so I bring all that baggage to this.
Yeah.
So I liked him going in, so then I liked him even more when he was in this movie.
I'm sure it's like the Michael Cera effect. If you've never seen Michael Cera before and you see him for the first time, you're like, what's the big deal? This guy can't talk. You know, he's so awkward. So not having any previous Carl Duke experience probably didn't help me any, but I did notice a few times in the theater where there was a good laugh going. You know, one cast member has a funny bit and another cast member has a funny bit. And then Carl Duke has a part, and you know, it's just, he takes the momentum out of the joke. Kind of reminded me of like a group of guys joking around and the one unfunny guy who, you know, throws something out there and oh right, you know, it's not funny.
Just kills the conversation and the jokes.
And you could say, well, he didn't have anything any good writing to work with, but like I've seen Bill Murray make the driest dialogue hilarious, so I just don't think the kid has any comedic talent. You know, hopefully down the road he'll change my mind, but for now, yeah, I'd say Carl Duke.
One thing I would say about this movie, when we were watching it, like, there was quite a few laughs, but as soon as I left the theater, I just kept thinking, like, with a premise this good, there was a lot of opportunities that I felt they sort of missed to really get a few more jokes in there and make it something classic, like a Groundhog Day, or even something as recent as The Hangover that has become, like, you can watch The Hangover, and it's got lots of jokes, but as a movie, that is a pretty solid movie. Like, it's got a good plot, it's just a good movie, whereas this has good jokes, but I don't think I would say, like, it was a good movie. There's so much potential there, but I don't think it totally reached it. So it's definitely worth seeing because it is fairly funny, but I wanted it to be a bit more, I think. Alright, so I guess that wraps up Hot Tub Time Machine, coming to a theater near you at the end of March.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Alright.
Thanks for watching.